Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.
And don't forget you can get the news as a podcast when you're out and about by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. But coming up today, huge fallout from this week's episode of NXT.
Not quite huge, but definitely big fallout coming out of AEW Dynamite.
A potential TLC spoiler.
And an explosive new video from Jordan Myles that you are not going to want to miss.
This is the news.
We are going to kick things off talking about the hot topic in professional wrestling at the moment, going into day 3 of this now. CM Punk, Chick Magnet Phil, he's back in WWE, sort of. He's on backstage. That show is now suddenly must-watch TV. But we've got some new information coming from Dave Meltzer on a recent episode of Wrestling Observer Live. He was talking about how this thing came together and the circumstances that led to CM Punk showing up on WWE television again. He claims CM Punk recently had talks with none other than AEW. And part of these talks, he had a nice little sit-down with Tony Khan, Sugar Man, the Sugar Daddy, sprinkling that sweet, sweet Demerara all over the wrestling business, but not on CM Punk. Apparently, CM Punk was offered a lot of money, a big money deal from AEW just prior to agreeing the backstage deal. And he turned it down. He said no. He said, Tony Khan, I don't want your Sugar Man. I'm going elsewhere. I'm going to do different things. I'm going to work with Fox. So I guess the headline here, CM Punk turns AEW down prior to returning to WWE.
I mean, it's a shocking revelation. I mean, we all kind of speculated whether or not that was going to be the fact. I mean, when he was at StarCast, I remember all of us just going, well, he's probably going to turn up at All Out then. And of course he didn't. But it's kind of, you know, it's kind of surprising to think that at the end of the day, regardless of where he's ended up now and the fact he's on Fox, when it comes to deciding between the hot up-and-coming, you know, generally babyface group of AEW versus WWE, where he had such bad experiences, and once again, a caveat that with he's not working with WWE directly. Yeah. Kind of surprising that he went, nah, I'm going to go to work for Fox. Yeah.
I have a theory on this, and it might just be me headcanoning stuff, but thinking about how this whole thing unfolded, you know, CM Punk's recent events, he's done MMA commentary, some analysis, some stuff like that. He's spoken very positively about his experiences in that, and by all accounts, he's been very good at that. He was always great on commentary when he did it in WWE. And so forth, and you can see him being a really good broadcaster on backstage as well. What I think has happened here is that CM Punk at some point over the past few years has decided the career I want to pursue is not in pro wrestling. Well, it's technically in pro wrestling, but it's not as a pro wrestler, it's as a broadcaster in a field that I know boatloads about. That certainly fits the bill here, and I think he's gone for the deal that will allow him to progress his career in that field the best. Probably doesn't want to wrestle anymore. The business made him miserable, whether, like, you know, AEW, lots of critical acclaim have been showered on that product, as has NXT and various other WWE things recently. But regardless, I think Phil Brooks has just made the best possible decision for Phil Brooks, and at this time he believes that is pursuing this career. Now, I maybe made that up, but I think it's plausible.
No, I definitely think that's
good
definitely
for him
possible.
as well.
We can only work with the facts that we have right now, and yeah, you sense maybe if he signed with AEW rather than Fox, which is working with WWE, there'd be even more expectation of when you're going to step between the ropes. Now, granted, we did do a podcast yesterday when I was like, so when's CM Punk going to step between the ropes? But I'm a hypocrite, so I can do stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, good for him. Good for him. I hope he's happy. Like, I hope this is a great contract for him and all this stuff, because that is more important than really us wanting to see him wrestle again, even though I really want to see him wrestle again. Good for him.
And also, those fans who were always sat there chanting CM Punk's name, asking when CM Punk was going to come back, tweeting him all the time, and then when he does come back calling you a sellout, come on, guys. Right, let's move on and talk about last night's episode of NXT, which I thought was simply phenomenal. Don't forget to catch Up and Downs. Up and Downs?
Up and down! There's
and
one
down.
up!
Ups and Downs with Adam Cleary for NXT a little bit later on. We saw so much happening last night. Of course, we were just over a week away from War Games. We had Bayley returning to Full Sail University, jumping Shayna Baszler after the main event ladder match, which also featured a debut from United Kingdom Women's Champion, former wrestler for WCPW, Kay Lee Ray. Great to see her on there. She looked fantastic. She attacked Mia Yim, basically cost her the ladder match. and then helped Io Shirai grab the symbolic briefcase, which gives the heel team, Team Baszler, the advantage as we head into War Games. Also, we saw the fact that we are going to get a kind of repeat of that match, but on the men's side of things, it's going to be Adam Cole versus Dominik Dijakovic next week. Do not miss that match. That is going to be amazing. And just when we're sat there going, oh, it's a shame we're not getting Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, they split the script. It's now going to be Matt Riddle versus Finn Balor at War Games next Saturday. I can't wait for that. It also means that there's a spare spot on what is effectively Team Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dominik Dijakovic, the first three. Fourth person?
Gangrel.
I mean Gangrel.
The legend.
Just put Aleister Black in there for me because he's not doing anything on the main roster. But yeah, there's a fourth place space opened up on that team. A great episode of NXT.
Certainly sounds like a ripping episode of wrestling television. Unfortunately, my alarm didn't go off this morning.
Yeah.
Usually what I do is I wake up at 4 a.m. on the Thursday morning, I sit there and I watch AEW at 1.5 speed, and then I watch NXT at double speed. I get through it, and then I go out the house, I get into the office, come in, do all the content. But today, the alarm didn't go off. So I haven't actually seen NXT, so thanks for the spoilers, Belen.
Screw you, alarms.
I'm joking. It sounds like a really good episode. I can't wait to check out that main event in particular. And TakeOver looks really great.
And Up and Downs, the new show that we just invented.
Can't wait to see what Adam Cleary's one-up is. Anyway, shall we move on to Dynamite, which is a
Yes.
show I was able to catch
That was
because
a very good show as well.
I have to write about it for the website, so I have to prioritise that. Anyway, loads of things went down last night. We saw Chris Jericho fail in his mission to become the double champion.
What does that mean?
Double champion
right.
in French. When he was pinned by Scorpio Sky, his very first pinfall loss in AEW. Scorpio Sky pinned him in the main event. We saw the debut of Wardlow as MJF's enforcer. We saw
That name will never not pop me.
we saw squash
Nice to meet
matches.
you, Wardlow.
We saw promos. We saw all kinds of storylines advance. We got medical updates on Kenny Omega, Dustin Rhodes. But as far as moving forward goes, I think the biggest couple of developments here are we're getting Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley next weekend, which sounds like it's going to be absolutely tits. This came about when Jon Moxley cut a promo saying, no one in AEW can step up to me. Darby Allin just grabbed the mic later in the show and said, Jon Moxley, I accept. That is going to rip. We also have something weird that wasn't really explained. We have 12 people competing in the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. The final two participants in that will face off in a singles match.
And then get married.
And then get married, Billy and Chuck. And then the winner will get the Dynamite Diamond Ring. So with the marriage stipulation, personally, I'm hoping that the final two are Peter Avalon and Leva Bates. But yeah, no real clue, no real indication as to what that actually entails. But I kind of like the idea of MJF or someone walking around with a massive ring on. Kiss the ring. You can do the kiss the ring gimmick that Cody used to do.
Think of that.
That would be really
Great
good.
idea.
But yeah, cool stuff. Dynamite was a lot of fun again. Not without its flaws, as always. There are certainly a few nuts and bolts that still need to be tightened on this show. But another successful wrestling show. And I'm really interested in seeing the ratings because NXT really caught up last week. I think they'll overtake them this week.
As always, Wednesday night, or for us here in the UK, Thursday morning, it's just the best time to be a wrestling
It's the
fan.
greatest,
They're
isn't it?
both great. You don't have to pick a side. We watch both. We love both. Right, let's talk though a little bit about main roster WWE and a potential TLC pay-per-view card
Things
spoiler.
we love, it's main roster WWE.
Now, the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota is currently advertising for TLC, which is the big old Christmas pay-per-view. They're advertising a women's tag team title match pitting the Kabuki Warriors, of course the current women's tag team champions, against Charlotte and Becky. That is a match I'd love to see.
Yeah, it is.
Given proper amounts of time, not just random bits on
Absolutely, I would love to see it on pay-per-view, given time with a conclusive finish, not the screwy stuff we saw on Raw. You know, I'm really quite fatigued with finishes like that. I get them from a storytelling perspective, and they work for most people. But let's see a conclusive match because that's four of the absolute best wrestlers in the whole company, regardless of gender and division and so forth. Adam Wilborn.
Yeah, I have a question. What's happened to Natalia?
Oh yeah, family issues,
Sucks
mate.
to be you.
Family issues, yeah. That was a weird thing they did last week where they advertised Natalia for the match on SmackDown, then on Raw, which was taped on the same day. They were like, nah, family issues. Weird situation, but you know, that's a better match, so
Yeah, it is, to be fair.
yeah. Shall we move on
I
to...
really don't want her tapping out Asuka against the bloody sharpshooter.
Shall we move on to Mr. Jordan Myles?
We're batting down the hatches.
So there's been a lot going on with Jordan Myles recently. If you've been following the wrestling news, you will know that there was a t-shirt design that was, you know, very reminiscent of imagery that was once used to, like, really dehumanize African Americans in the United States of America. Came out with his name on it, big squabble. He raised a bunch of whole valid points on Twitter publicly, didn't do it privately, came out publicly, which has ruffled a few people the wrong way. But Jordan Myles has come out with a new video, and Adam Wilborn, I've got the transcript here. What I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to read this unfiltered, swears and all.
Verbatim.
Ben Roy, our wonderful editor, will edit those out for you at home, mainly so we don't get demonetized. But I'm going to read out what Jordan Myles said today. Sorry, last night. As of today, I would like to officially announce that I quit WWE. I am no longer employed. I refuse to work for racists. I quit them. I hate that company and everything they stand for. All they ever did was hold our people back. I do this for the culture. I don't need anyone's permission to do what I want to do. Screw Jordan Myles. Don't ever call me by that slave name. Call me ACH, and don't forget the super bitch. I quit. You. Mincing his words there.
Yes.
So ACH, what a promo. It's kind of hard to know what's going to come out of this, really. I mean, WWE don't really release wrestlers, but this is certainly explosive.
Yeah, I mean, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't, aren't they? If they keep him on and stop him from going anywhere else, it's just going to probably encourage more rants like this on social media. Arguably justified if you're Jordan Myles, or ACH, I should say. But then, if they let him go, it's kind of admitting, yeah, we did kind of do quite a lot of wrong things.
They did wrong. So. Yeah, I like my totally partial take on this. Sorry, is that they did wrong, and that they should absolutely let the guy go. Now, we can sit here and debate whether or not going public with it was the right thing until the cows come home, but I do believe that in the end they need to let this guy go. They need to let him ply his trade elsewhere. I do believe that, calling Jay Lethal and Uncle Tom the other week was a bad move on his part and has maybe burned a few bridges on the other stages in pro wrestling. But yeah, let the guy go. He's clearly unhappy. He's drawing this kind, he's not happy. No. Let him out. Let him go. WWE probably don't want something like this going on in public either. Let's just end this. The relationship isn't productive for anyone. Cut ACH loose, man.
It's probably for the best for all involved. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. Start with one from Christian Poderiu. I hope I've got that right, Christian, who says, do you think Seth Rollins will betray the Raw team at Survivor Series and turn heel? Will he become a Triple H guy again?
Yeah, I think that would be a nice little twist to that match, really, because I think a lot of people looking at it are going to go, well, Randy Orton and Ricochet aren't going to get along, and Drew McIntyre's had beef with a few of these guys before, so that's how it's going to implode. But I think if you go into the match expecting that, and then you have Seth Rollins be the reason the whole thing capitulates, that's a really interesting move. However, I think that with WWE going to such extents this week as to edit out the crowd reactions and show footage from different crowds to make it look like Seth Rollins was being cheered, I don't think they're going to go that route just yet. But I think it's a really good idea and I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best for all involved. And Finger Poke of Doom, bring it back. Right, second question today comes from N8 Val, who says, would now be a great time to introduce a hardcore title called the Lights Out title from Moxley, where it's a division of psychos that fight unsanctioned matches.
Yeah, there's definitely something in that, but for now, I kind of prefer John Moxley as the chaos element around everyone else. I wouldn't necessarily want to put him in the Lights Out box, even though he's been kind of in that recently, but that's been more of a character development. He's going to keep having these matches. He's going to have a crazy match with Darby Allin next week. That match is going to be mental. But I would like him to just continue as what he is now, rather than being in his own little division. I like him colliding with the likes of Kenny Omega, who are traditionally big wrestlers, more traditional wrestlers.
Into his world, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a little more compelling to me, but I don't dislike the idea, Nate Fell, legend.
And I've got to mention the fact that we should congratulate John Moxley on actually getting a win on his actual record. He doesn't get many of them, really, because they're always unsanctioned or they go to a draw or whatever. He beat Michael Nakazawa in like 2 minutes. 45
seconds.
Was it?
Yeah, it was even quicker. I liked his little.
I was watching on double speed. I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. I like that little promo afterwards where he was just straight away like, that one counts, right?
Yeah, this one's so good.
You got a win, but it's over Michael Nakazawa. God.
Right, final question today comes from Pygmalion,
whose
birthday it was yesterday.
Happy birthday, Pygmalion.
Happy birthday for yesterday. Saying, will NXT do something to really rake in people now, since they and AEW are neck and neck?
Yeah, I think they've kind of maybe already done that with the invasion. Like, it came off You know, we haven't always been particularly positive about it on the main roster, but I think the stuff they've done with it so far in NXT last week with the OC was really, really productive and really strong. And it was reflected in the viewership. I think they were only like 15,000 behind AEW, something like that. And I do think that they will overtake them this week. I said that last week, in fact, that I thought they'd overtake them. Wrong there, but maybe this week. And
Bayley invasion this week.
Bayley, yeah, more excitement. Like they're doing some really good stuff in Full Sail to generate excitement. They're using the advantages that they have that AEW don't, and that is an established roster of mainstream stars that draw 2 million viewers every single week on Raw and SmackDown. It's smart, it's intelligent, it's good booking, and I think it will continue. Yes, I think that we'll do something big.
As Michael Sidgwick said on our AEW and NXT preview yesterday, I do think next week, obviously it's the go-home show for War Games, so any more people that you can get to tell about War Games, because I think War Games is kind of set now. Obviously they've got you've got the extra member for Team Ciampa to announce, but that's by the by, because I think you could sell that match anyway, and you've got that Adam Cole, Dominic Dijakovic match, and you've probably got to announce Damian Priest versus Killian Dane versus Pete Dunne, because that looks like it's going to be a barn burner as well. But for me, I'd have, as Michael Sidgwick said, I'd have someone on the main roster basically say, see you on Wednesday night on social media to promote the fact, and I think that would just tip them over the edge.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right, speaking of Pygmalion, we've got them to thank for today's, and finally, an image that I want to share with you, centering around our very own Adam Cleary,
I know what this is.
that I think will stay with you probably for the rest of your life.
I love this, yeah? Look at this, man.
I've never visualised Adam Cleary like this.
It captures the man's otherworldly essence perfectly.
His perfect vision of his essence.
It's a beautiful drawing as well. The craft that goes into
Should have taken his socks off, though. Wait a minute.
He never takes his socks off.
That's an unbelievable accusation.
I don't know.
Right, let us know your thoughts on that and
Sorry, mate.
all of today's news stories in the comments section below. Thanks to Pygmalion for that, as I said. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts. Plus, you can send us your Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE.
Video editors.
And if you're an aspiring video editor or a talented video editor who would love to come and work with idiots like us, make sure you check out the community section?
Community section of the YouTube channel.
Exactly. Go
and we
check
stress
that
that we are the idiots, not the wonderful, talented video editors.
Yeah,
Phil
exactly.
Chambers is the most talented man alive.
Yeah, you can touch his beard if you come and work here. I think it's after 6 months.
Yeah, you get a little tickle of Phil's.
Once you've passed your probation.
Phil's tickler.
But yes, go and check out the community section if you're an aspiring video editor, because we are hiring.
Yes.
Plus, as I said, let us know your Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for has ran out of fuzzy lyrics.
Someone needs to do some research today. You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. As I said, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
I mean, they've only really got one good song.
Yeah.